Ja, maar het is lastig, want je kan... Als je nou echt nog 2 plekjes... Dat wil ik ook wel doen trouwens. Want wie mist nog Jo en Anne?
Dat is straks zo meteen. Ik ga zo meteen.
Nee, je blijft gewoon vooraan.
Met allemaal op. Die ben je vrije tijd, hoor.
Dear students, this is in the first place a special occasion for you all. Today is the culmination of 2 years of hard work, and you have successfully finished a difficult 2-year program, which is not something just anybody would be able to do. After your bachelor program, you all came to talk to us about your interest to joining this program, and we warned you that it was a difficult task. But I still think when you started in the first weeks that you had to take a deep breath and that you really noticed that you had to study quite a lot harder than you ever did in your bachelor. And not only that, you had to be innovative, you had to contribute to economic knowledge, and not only be able to absorb material. After jointly taking the same topics in the first year, you have gradually started to specialize yourself in quite different topics, and you had to write a research proposal, and so you have continued, and this has culminated in a research master thesis, where you actually make a contribution to the field. So let me first extend warm congratulations to you all for finishing this difficult program. And I'm sure that I speak to everyone when I say that it gives tremendous satisfaction to have seen you growing during these 2 years. Yeah. So it's a special occasion for you, but it's also a special occasion for USE. USE, as you know, is a relatively young department. And if you would ask me what makes me proud to be an employee of USE, perhaps you would expect me to say, well, the fact that we have been able to establish a sizable bachelor program where we have a lot of new students every year, and also equally sizable academic master program. And of course, this is tremendously important. But if I'm honest, so if you ask me what makes me proud to work here, the first thing that comes to my mind is the fact that we are able to deliver research master students. So students who do not only absorb economic knowledge, but who are actually also producing it and are contributing to economic science. Who teach economics, and actually some of you have already been teaching during your master training, who will now work as professional economists or even do PhDs, as is the case for many of you present here today. And who will perhaps become academics yourselves. I'm convinced that many of my colleagues share this pride. If you look at our teaching allocation model, it continues to be in our own interest to teach as large groups as possible, simply because you get more full-time equivalent for that. But still many of us want to teach specifically in the Research Master, and that is because it is really an intellectually challenging task to do and satisfying to interact with students who share the same interests. And I think this pride is also reflected by the fact that all of your supervisors are present here today. Okay, so dear public, in a moment you will get a taste of what these students have all been doing. Now, of course, this will be very short and will absolutely not do justice to all of the work that they have been doing. Indeed, many of them were so motivated that they continued to work throughout this summer, right? But, okay. So it is very short, but it gives you a good taste of what they have been doing. So, how will be the proceedings today? So, each of the students will give a short presentation, after which the supervisors will will tell a good word about them, and after which they will receive their master. So, I think
Hello, my name is Zori and I come from Bulgaria. In this Research Master program I had a bit of change of topics, so I started from board diversity and I ended up with health economics. So the topic of my master thesis was the short-term and long-term consequences of work disruptions. What do I imagine when we talk about work disruptions? I imagine someone working, having a nice productivity increase, and something happening, a shock. This shock stops the individual or poses a barrier for the individual to go to work. So the individual suffers from a time out of the workplace, and at some point later on, the individual returns to work. And the question of my research master thesis was, what happens then? Does the individual have the same productivity profile, or is it a different one? So it can be a difference in the slope, so the productivity can decrease with slower pace, or it can also be a change in the initial productivity upon return to work. Well, so how to analyze this problem? We have someone who had a problem, he went out of the labor force, he returned back. Well, the first and logical thing to do is to look at their human capital, or their skill level. So what do firms look for? What skills do individuals need in order to be employed? Then we should look at their preferences. So does everyone want to work? What makes you choose to go to work instead of stay at home and enjoy your free time? And lately, look at the health condition. So is everyone healthy enough to work? Is it possible that you had a work disruption that imposed a burden on your health? Let's say you had a car accident, you broke your leg, and you're a dancer, you cannot continue to dance. So I took these three different perspectives and I found out that there are a lot of different factors that affect how strong is the effect of the work disruption for your future career. So if you're for a long period of time out of the labor force for more than 1 year, or you choose to go out of the labor force, then you have a stronger impact on your career. Your career will start increasing slowly, slower than expected, or it would even stagnate. It could also, the work disruption could also have a stronger impact on low-skilled individuals or young individuals, as well as old individuals. Well, based on these theoretical findings, I checked if it also holds in reality. I used the Dutch data set, survey data, from 2008 to 2013, and I took as a work disruption the cancer disease. So individuals who suffer from cancer, then they recover, what happens afterwards? Well, as expected, during the cancer phase, the individuals reduced their labor supply. So they worked less hours, most of them stopped working. However, upon recovery, not everyone returned back to work. In comparison to the same aged individuals who did not undergo the cancer disease, less of the recovered individuals return back to work. And what is more interesting is that that's not dependent on age, income, or skill level. So there is something else that can explain why those individuals provided less labor supply. And this is more or less what I did for my research master thesis. And in the next 3 years, I would actually look more into detail into these small determinants and look at what is exactly the reason why not everyone returns back to the labor force. Thank you for your attention.
Here at Utrecht School of Economics, we wanted to make a movie, and we wanted to make a movie of about 90 seconds, I think, 1.5 minutes. And we were thinking about the major characters of it, and we wanted to also have a student in it, and we wanted to have something of international students, and thinking about the gender composition, we wanted to have female students. And so Zori came in, and Zori was our student, and she was sitting on the grass, and somewhere together with Matthijs and Aspasia, I've seen it in the movie, and also that you were going to, I think, to our department. It was a bit unclear where you were moving to, but I think it was to our department. Actually, it was inside, somewhere in the streets of Utrecht. So, thinking about Zori, you're extremely social, you're enthusiastic, and you're also curiosity-driven. I've known you also for a very, very long time. As an honor student, I already knew you in the bachelor. And you went together also with Julia to Rome, and you also did a Lewis program in Rome for 1 year. But not the same year, but sequentially, I know, of course. So in spring 2012, suddenly you came back, you returned to Utrecht, and then you were a bit puzzled about, worried about what to do. And then I informed you about this research master, and you became really enthusiastic about it. So you did a very good job during your research master, of course. And what was also remarkable is that you really stuck to your bachelor thesis because you wanted to do something with your bachelor thesis. You had a presentation, I think, in Portugal, if I'm right. And you were, we were really proud about it. However, later on we discovered that you would wanted to do something different. So I had this research project because I had some talks with colleagues at the Uithof at Pharmacology. And we wanted to do something together with each other, so that's why we were interested in these disease types of things and in terms of health shocks, and we were interested in the consequences for future careers. I think it's a very important topic, and I'm really happy that you started working on it and that you're going to continue to work on it. What I found also very remarkable about your thesis is that it was really curiosity driven. We started somewhere, So you started reading because you didn't know much about literature at all. You had this course of Thomas van Huysen, and that was it. So you started with a literature survey, and then later on gradually you came into these data, and then suddenly you had these impressions, and we already had very nice talks, also together with Adriaan. So far it has been very nice and very inspiring. I'm sure that we will have 3 very nice and curiosity-driven years ahead. Congratulations. Everybody's invited to join us.